Hi. Nope, you're muted.
There
There
we
you go. Nice sign behind you.
go. I had to do a Ohio art education meeting last night.
Ah,
Time to take it down.
it's okay. You're in the big leagues now.
Something.
How are you?
Busy. Very, very, very busy. President in person presenting. I just finished up 2 videos for the art of education. Anyway,
Wow.
busy. How are you?
How much? I'm good too. How much did this add to your workload?
Well, not much because I've done this one a few times. So I have everything ready.
Oh no, I meant the presidency of the
Ohio Art Education Association,
yeah.
a shit ton. it was funny because I'm prepping for like a meeting that's in a couple weeks, and that's fairly simple stuff and stuff I know how to do, but I have to present to our foundation, which gives us a crap load of money.
Right.
So I was thinking it's not a big deal, but my last president really didn't teach me a lot during my elect year.
Oh, that's
So I open up the past like presentation, and it's not a presentation, it's like a 3-page report to give to the foundation. And so I was just a little upset with her because I essentially now have to go find all this information, write this 3-page report. And of course, I don't have all of it. Like, I don't know currently how many members we have and what the budget is. And so I got to go seek out all of this stuff. It's like, oh my God, you could have given me a heads up that it was a 3-page report.
Ay, ay, ay.
Anyway, so
All right. Well, it's 7. I'm gonna start letting people in. I'm really excited about this, although I've been trying to figure out how I could do this with my kids without Adobe Draw because they can't download stuff to their computers
um,
because they have our Department of Education um, devices that were given to them, and they don't allow any kid to download stuff onto the DOE devices.
well,
So
that's
that's, yeah. Well, I mean, I understand the
and
reasoning.
I have seen a similar version of it done with Google Draw online.
Uh-huh.
So I guess if you just take the concepts and
Yeah.
translate it to Google Draw.
Mhm.
But I have not. I have only played around with Google Draw a little bit. So
Well, that's kind of what I figured. I would watch what you're doing and then see if I could translate it over.
all the concepts are the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday night club. Hope you all had a good week. I still kind of want to blow my brains out, but I think I think I might not be alone in that.
Oh,
I actually read an article today. I got in my email, what to do about students who do no work. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I have a good 75% of my students are doing nothing. And they were like, well, you have to consider why they're doing no work and don't penalize. And everything is like, oh, okay, treat everybody with kid gloves. And you have to respect the situation. But yeah, at the same time, it's like, okay, we've been doing this for a year now. If you don't understand what your responsibilities are at this point, you've been given a free pass on a lot of things, what more do you want, Okay, I'm done venting.
it's all right. And I'll tell you what, it's a district expectation. My daughter goes to a school district that's similar to mine in size and what they were doing.
Yeah.
Their expectations were work was to be done. They were to be online and camera on for attendance, etc. You get the idea, kind of like you were at school.
Right.
And parents were called if they weren't in school, kids were considered truant, the whole 9 yards. And you could just tell our district sounds a lot similar to your stuff. It's kind of like, give them a pass. They're at home. You don't understand. And I was going to make some sort of joke on my social media that now that we're completely full, when we were hybrid, I had about half the work being done, about half as well, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
Now that I have all my kids in school, I'm getting 100% of my content taught with about 80% of the stuff being turned in. So there's still like maybe a 20% outlier of kids who are blowing stuff off. But
Right.
this is such a huge difference having kids in the building, obviously.
Yeah, they need that as a structure thing, and I get that. It's very hard to do what we do without being face to face and hands on. Especially when you have so many kids that are terrified of art to begin with. Why, I have no idea, but you can't even get them to cross the line without holding their hands, and you can't hold their hands when we're remote. And I'm remote till the end of the school year. So this whole year has been a dumpster fire for me. It really has. I don't
But
know.
you got an art teachers club and
Yes.
you learned a lot of stuff.
I've done really good at the self-care thing now, because I've had to, so that I don't lose my mind, because I'm not getting what I need from my job, you know? So thank you all for your support and your community with us. So all right, people are starting to come in. Yes, I was gonna say, oh, I forgot to hit record, but I got smart and made it a setting to just record when I open the room. So how is everybody else's life going?
Could be better. I actually just found out that I won't be renewed for the next year. Due
Oh
to,
no.
yeah, but all is well other than that. Try to stay optimistic. So
That's
this group is a good group to join, to be with other art teacher peers, to, talk about these type of things.
wow, that's a major thing. I'm so sorry.
Oh, thanks. But I'm sure I'll move past it, with
Well,
doors and whatnot.
to be cliche, when one door closes, another one opens, and maybe it'll be better than what you thought you had before.
Exactly. That's what I say every time, to keep pushing forward.
Right, exactly.
You're in the Columbus, Ohio area. I know of 3 job openings.
Do you? Oh, are you in Columbus, Anne?
Oh, actually, no, I'm not.
Sorry.
I actually got recommended to this group by another art teacher that works for the school that I'm currently leaving. So I was like, okay, sounds like a good group to join.
It is. We're really good with supporting each other and just learning new stuff, and just a place to be with others in the same exact boat that we're all in. So, do you want to give it another 5 minutes, Matt, or?
Whatever you want. I figured I'd do a little intro and walk everyone through the project if they want to do it along with, or whatever. I can do the basic, like, blah blah blah, I'm from, and blah blah blah, go here, yada yada yada, all that good stuff. And you're recording it, so
Yeah, I'm recording.
it's up to you.
How about let's wait till 10 after, and then we'll do that.
Okay.
Okay, so somebody in the message, Belinda says there are so many art jobs in Kansas City if anyone is looking, all levels and multiple districts.
That's me. There's so many. So I know probably everyone's far away from here, but elementary, secondary, urban, suburban, charter.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just feel like people got so frustrated. People quit. I'm not going to say they're easy jobs, because the open ones are usually pretty tough, but I mean, it's a job. You can always switch it up later or something. But I mean, our district, Kansas City Public Schools, we've got quite a few right now. We've had them open all year, and more for next year, because some people are moving around, relocating, moving to the coast, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, and then the suburban districts also have quite a few that are near here. So,
I wonder what the mass exodus numbers are going to look like when this year ends for like retirement and early incentive, and those who are just like, I don't care, I got to get the hell out.
I think that's what's happening. People would rather just take a break off teaching,
Yeah,
especially the newer teachers, because they can just make that same money doing something else and then come back later. Whereas
right.
the new teachers really just feel like they don't really want to do it. I don't blame them really, but
Well, if they're new, they're not giving up that much. Those of us who are in it almost 20 years,
Mhm.
I can't walk away because I'd lose everything, my whole pension would be
Mhm.
messed up, and like I have to wait at least till 25 years. So I have 7 years more to go.
Mhm.
And it's going to be like climbing a huge mountain. We all thought when we got to like 18, 20 years, okay, then it'll be easy. We could do the job with our eyes closed. And here we are now reinventing the whole teaching wheel from scratch, right close to the end of our career. And it feels like we have to start all over again.
Yeah, I've been eligible to retire for a long time, but I mean, still you need like a job. So I love teaching art. I know it's tough and I know I'm reinventing my whole career, but maybe that's better than just doing any old thing, I don't
Sure.
want to just go work at like a store and, I wouldn't really find it rewarding. So
I love my job too. When I'm in it and I can, give the kids high fives physically and hugs and, walk them through stuff and chase the fears away. And this is just something completely from another planet, this whole experience.
mhm.
I can't imagine staying in it this year and then leaving. Like you've made it through this. That's amazing to me. Unless you're, a first year and you don't really know that it's not always this horrible.
Well, the thing is, we don't have any idea what it's going to look like moving forward.
True.
Most departments of education in whatever state you're in, they're all going to have to reinvent what it looks like over the summer for September. So it's going to be completely new. Sure, there's going to be a million new procedures we're going to have to do. I wonder what the class sizes are going to be, and the kids are still going to have options to be remote. So how are we going to, and as I said, I'm teaching completely remotely. How is it going to work to teach hybrid in the classroom with half at home, half in the classroom, or we don't even know what the percentages are going to be? That's like trying to juggle with yourself, but the balls are on the other side of the room. Like, how do you do that?
So we've been doing that I'm in Northern California. We've been doing it since October. Unfortunately, our district chose to have the kids either choose to be fully in person or fully at home. So the kids who stayed home, you've lost most of them. But
Right.
I mean, it is tough, but it's definitely, toughest at the beginning. And then like anything, you figure out how to do it.
That's what I've done all year until 2 weeks ago when we went full in Ohio. Just FYI for everyone, I'm in Ohio. And I mean, that's what I was saying to Steph, for those of you that just came on. It's been like 50% of the content at 50% of the success. That's pretty much how hybrid was for me. It took 4 weeks to do a project in person. It took 8 weeks in hybrid, and you hopefully got a half a good as whatever. Half a good painting, half a good ceramics project, half a good computer graphics. I mean, that's essentially what it was. You would give them something to do at home.
Right.
You'd be lucky if you would see that. You'd get your in-person stuff. So, and I was just saying, now that we're in person now for 2 weeks, the kids are still respectful, but I mean, all it is 28 kids in a room with masks. I mean, just you do what you can. I've been vaccinated and had it, so I figure I can't get any worse.
Are they happy to be in the room?
Oh God, you could have heard a pin drop, and I couldn't get anyone. Even when I would say, "Look, don't even raise your hands, just talk." I couldn't get anyone to answer anything. It was like the masks were like killing them. You put 28 of them in a room with masks on, that's all it's changed. It just doubled. And it is like, they'll, you know, and then, I mean, like I said, they're respectful and they'll spray things down and wipe things up. But
Right.
the kids could care less. So they're just happy to be, you can just tell they're happy to be back and socialize. And some of the virtual kids see it now too, because they've come in for testing and they've stopped into my rooms, the one that are doing things. And they're like, oh, hey, Miss Young, nice to meet you in person. Da, 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 da. We're coming back next year because being at home sucks. So there you go.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so let's get started. It's 12 after. Most of you are repeaters, so welcome back. If there's anybody new here, welcome. This started about a year ago. I started doing this club and it has been an incredible success. I love it. And we run on a volunteer basis. I kind of organize everything. And every now and then, I don't know if you saw my emails today pleading for volunteers, because after May 6th, I have no dates. So even if we just get enough to get to the end of the school year, that would be great. So anybody who wants to volunteer, contact me. I will put my email in the chat box, so you can email me directly if you want to do something for us. Otherwise, I'm going to hand it over to our wonderful multi-time volunteer facilitator, Mr. Matt Young, who is in
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio. Thank you, Columbus, Ohio. We have people from all over the country. It still blows my mind. That's such a cool thing. So take it away, Matt.
All right. Can I present? I think I can. Can I? Yes, I can.
You make you
Oh,
co-host.
no, you need to make me co-host.
Yeah.
Real quickly while she's doing that. So Matt Young is my 26th year. I teach at a suburban high school in Columbus, Ohio, Pickerington Central. There's about 2,000 students. I teach 7 classes a day. I have half a day of 3D ceramic sculpture, metals, and half a day of computer graphics and AP. Computer graphics I split with the other teacher at my school. And it's one of our largest things. And a few years ago, years now, probably like 10 to 15. So this is my 26th year. We just realized there wasn't a lot of art on the computers. There's a lot of photography. There's a lot of graphics, graphic design, things like that, but there wasn't art. So my coworker and I started what we called like a visual art program on the computer, and thus was born like a lot of our projects. So Stephanie's been nice enough to let me present, because I like sharing these things, because a lot like you guys, we started off with nothing, and we had to kind of find everything. So we found free software, we built the program. There's a lot of things out there that you guys can use. I'll speak of what we use, but we are now an Adobe and Google school. So we have Photoshop, Illustrator, all that other good stuff. But one of the programs and projects that has stood the test of time, and I will try to share my screen really quick. Let's see if I can do this correctly. Go ahead. There we go. Can you guys see spontaneous portraiture?
Yes.
All right. Let's see if I can make it bigger. So one of the ones that I presented at NAEA about a couple times, we actually wrote an article for Davis on this one in their media book. But we were noticing, probably like a lot of you guys, the students were in class like taking selfies like all of the time, and they were just constantly taking pictures of each other and doing this and doing that. And again, we are not the photography teachers, so we're like, okay, how do we turn this into an art project, let alone how do we turn this into a digital project? Well, all the kids, obviously, if you teach drawing or something like that, do like portraits. So this started off being, I'll just kind of give you some backstory. It started off being an impressionistic project, and then Craig and I went and saw like a Kehinde Wiley exhibit and like totally kind of changed some of the way we taught this. So I'm going to speed through this, but you'll see at the end when we get to it. We do a lot of Kehinde Wiley kind of background. They have a few of them at our museum here in Columbus. We are at kind of an urban school, so a lot of kids relate to this. And we also kind of like, quote unquote, the swagger that comes with his pictures, especially trying to get kids to pose, because it's funny. You tell kids not to pose for something, and they'll be snapping pictures of themselves with the good lighting and the fish lips and the whole 9 yards every 5 seconds. When you tell them to pose for something, you get like the crappiest photographs ever. So anyway, we'll get to that here in a second. So we give them a little background about Kehinde Wiley. That's me in Kansas City, by the way, where I went 2 summers ago when they had this exhibit, and I was in Western Region for NAEA. So there's me in the corner. This one is huge, if you can't tell. I'm 7 feet tall, by the way. I know I'm sitting down. So if you know that I'm 7 feet tall and this thing is bigger than me, that is one of the biggest ones I've ever seen. So we give a little kids a history about Kehinde Wiley. Then we talk to them about some other famous historical things. So we go through kind of like Impressionists and how they captured light and other things like that. And we want the students, this is where we start getting away from realism a little bit and start talking with the students about capturing light and capturing line and trying to focus on color and line. And it really gets their mind off of, I have to paint something realistically. So we just kind of give a little history lesson. You guys can work that into your curriculum however you want, but this is kind of a little background about what we do. They do tend to find self-portraits very intimidating. This is a beginning computer graphics class for us. So the kids may or may not have any background in drawing. So we are asking them to do a digital painting of a self-portrait. So what we do is we have a couple days of selfies, and we've got our lighting sticks out, and we've got the cameras, and we have everything, and we tell the kids to have fun with it. So we just go crazy because digital film is free. You can snap off as many pictures as you want, and it doesn't cost anything. So we try to get the kids to do some frozen action ones, maybe some sort of political message. We do bring in costumes and props. If they're feeling it, have a strong emotion. You kind of want to set them on this journey of their own personal thing while they're doing that. So again, there's a big talking class about, what do you want your portrait to be? How do you want to be seen? We do allow students, because not every student wants to paint themselves, to photograph friends with permission, family members if they want to do it at home with permission, and yes, pets. But we will preface everything when they say, well, I want to paint my cat, dog, whatever, with sure, but it's a lot harder. So just FYI. But we do have these fun days of taking pictures, and kids really get into this. A lot of athletes that we have in class will like, hey, can I use the picture of me dunking football, whatever? 100% sure you can. Just have it done with good lighting. And when you want strong lights, strong darks, when they're taking the pictures. So try to have all of those things in there. It's really important that they have a bunch of different images that they can choose from, because having a strong light source with good shadows is really important to do this project well. Again, especially with like a foundation. Steph, can you admit, or do I have to admit that?
I got it.
Yep. So I will say in class, this whole process does take like maybe 3 to 5 days and about 45 minutes a class period, because since these are foundation kids, talking to them about color, line, value, color theory, contour line, taking good pictures, taking the pictures, lights, darks, things like that. There is a little setup to this project. So one of the things that we do like to use is not real color. We found this very, very helpful. When students go away from not painting something to realistic color, it becomes less intimidating to them. So instead of trying to get the real flesh tone or the real hair, skin, clothing, whatever tone, if they can focus on specific colors and their value, it becomes a lot less, it becomes very easy for them to do. Oh, that's a dark color, that's a dark value, that's a light color, that's a light value. So I'm going to hop out of this really quick, and I will put these links. I'll show you where to get them. But there is this great thing called a color scheme designer. It's free. It's a web-based thing. You can pick a triadic color scheme. And if you pick, oops, close. Sorry, I need to change my preview to color scheme designer. There we go. That's better. When you do this, the kids can pick a dominant color that they like, and then it tells them 3 different colors that follow the triadic color scheme with them, and you can separate them to kind of add the colors. But they can kind of create their own palette using color scheme designers. Again, this is nice. If they like purples, pinks, blues, greens, etc., they can start to create their own palette. And again, we do this before they even start drawing. This is all about the student's choice. Let them choose the picture, the theme, their colors. You want them to really be involved in what they're doing before they even start the project. So this is another online web-based thing you can do, and there'll be all the resources. So I will take a little mini break here. I'll put this in this chat for you guys. We have a website. It's Central Art Blog. Feel free to look at any of the things on here. It's all free for you guys to look at. If you click on Computer Graphics Foundations, this is all the stuff that we teach in computer graphics. And all the links will be under this Adobe Draw Portraits. All the handouts, and there are YouTube videos for everything that I'm going to show you guys today, including the presentations and where to find everything. So if you forget anything I teach today, and you can watch Steph's recording, and or you can go to Central Art Blog. And like I said here, I'll put that in the chat really fast. Control C. Can I put it in the chat? I can, hopefully. Hold on.
All recordings, by the way, all sessions are recorded, and they are usually posted by Friday night or Saturday morning right after in YouTube in the Nikata UFT channel. And everything is, free to watch whenever you want to.
All right, put that in the chat. All right, back to here. But yes, so feel free to check out everything in here, and like I said, there are videos for everything that we are going to be going over here in a second. So one thing that you guys will want to do is you'll need to download Adobe Draw, and I'm going to talk about that for a second. It's free. It is free for iPads, iPhones, Androids. It works on Chromebooks. The only thing it works on anything that has an app. So you cannot use this on desktops, and you cannot use this on laptops, especially if they do not accept apps, because this is an app. So just as a heads up for that. But it is kind of free for everything else. Now, the great thing about it is it's going to allow us to do this impressionistic painting style, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute, which is great. These short, pure colors that are unblended. It gives a very light effect to everything, but it has layers, it has an eraser. So it's really nice when you guys are going to do this thing. And again, it is free. You can do a lot of cool things with this. So I don't know what levels you guys teach, but I just wanted to let you know that I teach AP, 9th grade, all the way up through AP 12th grade. But I did a collaboration with 4th grade students. So my AP kids took pictures of themselves. This 4th grade class took pictures of themselves, and we swapped pictures. They kind of had a picture pal buddy over Google Classroom, so the teacher and I could monitor and everything. And it was a great collaboration because the kids asked each other, what colors do you want me to start painting? How do you want me to start painting this? What do you want as your background? It was a really fun thing to do, just FYI. So I can tell you for sure that 4th graders can do this all the way up through high school. So just FYI, because we kind of taught the same lessons. So here's a picture of some of the 4th graders up top. And there are pictures of some of my high school students at the bottom. And basically, I'm going to cover that here in a minute, so we're going to skip there. But there are some of the pictures that came out of just this, kind of let you know. And the thing I found interesting about these pictures that I put together was I don't think it's that easy to tell the difference between AP high school kids and fourth graders, which is why I like to show this picture, because if you guess and you look, you can probably figure it out. But at first glance, I mean, it takes you a minute to figure out which ones were the fourth graders and which ones were the AP kids. So
These are great.
I think it's just very successful. And like I said, most schools will have Chromebooks or some form of iPad-ish thing. And these are wonderful for you guys to use, since it is a free software if you can download it. And then the two teachers did a funny little thing using Adobe Draw as well. And if hopefully you can all tell what two pictures those were. Otherwise, we are horrible art teachers and we did it poorly. But we did it as well. We swapped pictures and did that. And there's myself and the other art teacher and all the kids that worked on this project. So don't know what you teach, but you guys can do everything. All right, so I'm going to hop out of this for 1 second and talk about a few things. All right, sorry, I will hop out of this in a second. If you do not teach high school and your kids are 13 years or younger, this is where it comes into funniness. Adobe, to use free, like everything else, will ask you to create an account. Now, what's nice is, and I actually found this out, is if your school is a Google school, you're good. So if you're a Google school, it will ask you to log in with Google and you're kind of covered. You can skip this whole 13-year-old thing. If you're not a Google school, it'll ask you to be 13 years or over or something like that. And it's because you can get into the Adobe community. And if any of you guys have been on the Adobe community, it's not that there's bad things on the Adobe community, but we all know what is out there in the art world as far as like artwork. And so kids could go searching through there. And there are some artworks that are risque.
A little bit.
So how did the fourth grade teacher do this? The fourth grade teacher created an account. And then every kid, this is the other interesting part, every student logged in under her account. And then she could actually control all the kids' artwork. So even though they were all under one account, she could still have them all up and working as an entire class. It doesn't actually matter how many you have open. And that's the other kind of cool thing about it. So even though you have one account, you can have a lot of these projects open. So that is interesting. If you wanted to actually keep tabs of all the kids' projects, you could create a generic account of all the kids log in and then kind of keep track of everyone's stuff. Just something to think about. So it does have some interesting possibilities right there. So deep breather for a second. I know that was a lot. Any questions at the moment?
All the resources, like the how to take a picture thing, that's on your website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll have this, sure, let me put this one. It'll have this worksheet right here. It'll talk about taking a picture, composition, good lighting, there'll be a PDF of this. It's on the website. And like I said, I'll put a link to them all up there too. There's a couple other handouts too that I'll put in there. I give like the 5-second rule I can do with the students. All right, can I pin myself? So if I do this weirdly, hold on. If I stop sharing the screen for a second, can everybody see me, I guess? You can all see each other, okay. The only reason I wanna do this is, see if I can show you. So I will be using an iPad Pro, just FYI. We have a set of these at school. Like I said, I've built the computer program up pretty well and our school district has been very nice to us, but I'd spent a lot of time doing this. So we have actually a class set of these things. But I will tell you something interesting. One of my AP students refused to use one of these and did everything on her iPhone. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference. So she did her entire project. She was like, I won't work on my phone. Now I am blind so I would not be able to use this. But just to let you know, I did have a couple students choose to use their phone over checking out an iPad with me. All right, so there you go with that. All right, so here we go. On with the project. Now I'm going to try to share my iPad. So let's try this again. Share screen. All right, hold on a second. Aha, beautiful. Come on, you can do it. Right. All right, can everybody see what looks like an iPad?
Yes.
Okay. I'm obviously already logged in. When you log in, you will have like a list of projects, and you can kind of see some of the things that my daughter has drawn on here. Like I said, one of the advantages to using Adobe Draw is once you create an account, you can have multiple things open, multiple devices, and you don't have to be logged into one at a time. So when you're drawing, you can have multiple kids logged in under one thing. So I'm going to walk you through starting the project kind of step by step, and then we'll talk about where you guys can go with it in the future. But the basic thing you will want to do, and I'm going to go into my demo really quick, is down in the bottom. So down here in the bottom, there is a plus button. So when you hit plus, it'll give you an option of whatever device you're working on. I'm working on an iPad, so I'm going to click iPad. All right. And we're going to talk about how to set it up. This is important, and it's in the videos, and it's in the handouts. The first thing you want to do is there is another plus button. It's pretty intuitive to learn to use this. So there's a plus button over here. If you click the plus button, you will get an image layer. And I have mine on you have a choice of on your iPad or to take a photo. I already have mine saved to my iPad for this demo. So I'll just scroll through these things, find my picture. All right. And what's great about this is you can zoom in on the picture. And I tell my students, we just need from the heads up. So we're just going to kind of crop it. All right. So we just kind of fill the page. I will click done, and boom, your portrait will be up on the page. So step one, have them crop their image to what they want. Step number two, over here, you're going to see your brushes. Now, if you hold the brushes, you're going to get options of brushes. For this assignment, you will want the basic taper, the one with the two little pointies on each end. So the first thing you tell the kids to do is tap and make all of your brushes pointy. The last one is an eraser, and you can't change that. It's an eraser, so it is what it is. Then here comes the part where they've already picked their colors. So they've either saved them to Google Drive or their iPad, or you also have an option under the colors. If you've saved it, once they are in Adobe, they can have their themes saved on the iPad. So you can see here I've saved some of my themes. So here is how I would do it, or at least how I tell the kids to do it. On the very top one, they're going to pick their darkest color. So I would pick my darkest color to go up on the top one. Then I'd start to move down. And for the next one, you would pick what I would call we'll call it like a medium dark. So I'm gonna put that one in there. And then the next one down, we're gonna call it like a contrasting mid. All right. And you can kind of see I've already set this up to try to speed. So a contrasting mid. And then the last two are going to be more towards the light versions of the color. So we're going to go light, and we're going to go, if I can get there, oops, sorry. I get used to hitting the buttons. All right, so I don't know if you guys can tell on the computer, we kind of go dark to light. Does that make sense to everybody? Pretty easy. All right. Now, here is the tricky part in order to get this to work. So if you want it to look impressionistic, here we go. You're going to come over here, all right? The top one is your brush size. So if you click and hold it, you can make your brush bigger, or you can make your brush smaller. Your brush size should be somewhere in the 15s to 20s. It really doesn't matter, somewhere in 15 to 20. So 18.5 is good. The opacity is the second dot. So you can make it completely transparent, or you can make it 100%. I'm going to put it somewhere near 50 to 60%-ish. Okay. And they need to do that for each one. So I'm going to sit here and take a second. And I've already done it for that one. And I've already done it for that one. I've already done it for that one. And I'll do it for the last one just to show you one more time. Hold the top one, changes the brush size. The second one changes the opacity. And again, the last one picks the color. Okay. So here's where you guys get to be drawing teachers. So I'm going to always start with the darkest darks for your first layer. So over here are your layers. So I'm going to take this layer and I'm going to call it darks. And you want to talk to the kids about labeling their layers. This is very important. Otherwise they'll lose track. So start with darks. All right. Now, this is where we're going to talk about line and shape and value again and contours. Because, and the kids love this demo when I do it to them, and I know you really can't see me right now, but imagine this. I'm petting my face. So I literally pet my face in front of the kids. And I explained that if I'm going to pet my face, I'm not going to sit here and like awkwardly pet myself across the face like so. That's just weird. So if I'm going to sit here and like kind of wipe something off my face or kind of pet my face, I'm going to go with the contours of my face. So as I go to start drawing something, it's going to go in the direction of where my skin kind of lays. So again, we're not going to draw things awkwardly or wipe our face awkwardly. We're going to try to draw with contour. And again, we talk about line, contour, line, and value. So, second thing you want to teach your kids to do after you talk about line and line direction is they don't like to do this. Kids, I don't understand, but I force them to do this. I tell them to zoom in. It is easier for them to focus on value when they're not focusing on something as a cheek, a nose, a face, the teeth, and eyes, or something like that. So I tell them to really zoom in to focus on value. So the key to doing this project and to teaching them to do this is we're going to kind of really quickly draw things in like an impressionist would. So we will reiterate the impressionistic strokes to them, quick, light, capture color. And we call it feathering. I think you guys will see here in a second what I mean by feathering. So if I see that there's a line here in my cheek, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to start feathering in my line, okay? And then I'll notice it's dark below my nose, so I'm going to start feathering in like around my nose. And then I'm going to zoom in. And I tell them I'd like for them to work just on the skin tones, just on the face, and to zoom around and try to find all of their dark areas that they can. And just to focus on the skin right now. We're not going to worry about the hair or anything else. I just want them to focus on the skin. All right.
Are you using your finger or a
Oh
stylus?
yeah. Sorry, I like to use my finger. Kids will want to use styluses.
Okay.
I tell them I think the finger's faster. So, so when I do this, I'm using the finger. The girl that used the phone. Oh, and by the way, even on the Chromebooks, especially if you have a touch screen, you can zoom in and out. So again, back to the whole zooming thing. All right. So you can sit here and try to get those things in super fast. And again, we're just kind of focusing on the skin tones. And this doesn't have to be perfection right now. I tell them to go really quick and move around their iPad literally this fast. I do the demo for them and try to get their darks in this quick. We can always go back and revisit this because remember, it's its own layer. So we can go back and revisit the colors again and again. Some things they'll want to do is they'll want to outline their face. No, we don't outlines. We are not cartoons with outlines drawn around us. Okay, we're just focusing on the values at the moment. All right. And the other thing that they'll want to do is they'll want to sit here like a coloring book and literally like fill the color in. Okay. You do not want to have them fill it in. Tell them to work fast. The whole point of this project is to kind of work quickly while they are, drawing. So for the purpose of demoing, I'm going to close this really quick and open up one I've already done. Oops. So that would be right here. This would be the first 2 layers. This would be a dark and like a mid-dark color. All right, that's what it should look like when just those colors are on there. So if I turn that off, I tell the students when they're done with their first 2 layers of darks to show me, and you should be able to start telling it's a human being. If
Have you ever used, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Have you ever used Sketchbook Pro? Which is
yeah,
another free, could this be done in that app?
yeah, all the concepts are the same, and we actually started this project in a program called Alchemy. A-L Chemy, C-H-E-M-Y, Alchemy. Now that's for desktops and PCs, and it is also free.
Okay.
The negative about that is it was created by a gentleman who was an artist who was having artist block. And so there are no layers and there are no undos. What you paint is what you paint.
Oh,
There's
good.
no eraser either.
Okay.
So it is a true like free painting experience. But the great thing about it, it does create this kind of feathery impressionistic effect when you draw. So anyway, back to this. So I would have them fill in all the darks first. All right. So when they've done all of the darks, I'm going to close this for a second. All right. And I'm going to, I got to remember which one was which. Come on. Am I on the right one? No, I'm not. Let's try this again. There we go. I did a couple demos, sorry. After they are done with all the darks, after they're done with all the darks, they are then going to go to the highlights next. So their lightest tones. All right, so they're going to want to fill the lightest tone. And again, the process is the same. Now I'd like to point out over here, and I wish I could zoom in. If you notice, they are on different layers, and that's the big thing, to make sure that they are using different layers when they go to do these things. Because that way they can always go back, and as you're teaching them, you can always go back and say, hey, I'd like you to fix darks, and then they can go to their dark layer or go back to their light layer. The neat thing about it is also in Adobe Draw, you can double tap it and it turns them completely off. So you can see one layer at a time what you're working on. All right.
That looks great.
So they're going to go through, and here I'll just turn the dark layers off for a second. I would go to the lights. If for some reason a student loses the color, or for some reason students like, well, my palette, I can't find it, something happened, here's another neat feature. If you come over here, all right, so if you come over here and you hold the color down, it actually has a color picker. So if you lose a color, you can always come over here and repick the color. Don't forget to turn it to 50% opacity. And don't forget your brush needs to be somewhere down in the 15s. But then they can zoom back in again, and then they can start back in with the same colors again. And you want to try to have them again, feather, 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 feather. This is kind of the big thing. And a student, in all honesty, a high school student that has zero drawing experience can finish a color layer in about a 45-minute period. So if you guys are looking for how long this project takes with my students, the project usually takes a couple weeks. It will take them a day or two to get used to it. They will all do the same mistakes. They will all draw in the wrong direction. They will all try to fill in with a solid color. They will all do a few mistakes for probably 1 or 2 days, especially if they have zero drawing experience. But after about 2 days of doing this, they will get the hang of it. And like I said, we've had a lot of success with this project. And then they just kind of crank it out, like 1 layer or color a day. So I'm going to close out of that one really fast. I'm going to pull out this one. All right. So we now have all the darks. We now have all the lights. What's great is if you see over here, you can put layers above and on top of each other. So you can even have some colors. You can talk to maybe some of your advanced students about like putting in some of the warmer colors under the cool colors and getting their cool colors to pop out by putting them in different places. Again, back to that painting lesson to try to keep a digital painting. You want to bring some warms into your cools, some cools into your warms. That is a neat little painting trick to make everything cohesive. Now they've got the skin done. You're ready for your lips, teeth, and eyes. I try to put that on a different layer. Okay, I try to put the teeth and the eyes on a different layer. I usually try to put it underneath some of the other layers. And I will tell you this, I let the students be as creative as they would like to be. But lips and teeth just look better natural. All right, so if I turn this off, if I was to tell a student, and I will create a layer just for fun, just so I can show you guys. If I was telling a student to draw the lips, I would seriously tell them to come over here and sample the color of the lip. And then I would tell them to start drawing in the lips that way. All right. You can do the lips. I mean, some kids do have a good sense of color and they'll be like, can I do my lips blue or green? Okay, like I'm not going to stop them. I'm just telling you from personal experience, it looks really, really weird when you're doing the lips. Teeth are the same way. I tell them to zoom in. Not everyone has perfectly white teeth. If they want to whiten their teeth, they 100% can. So if I'm sitting here, and I think I'll show you guys the difference. So if I'm sitting here coloring in my teeth, you guys can barely tell the difference as I'm coloring. But if I come over here and I go to my color, sorry, I'm gonna go to my picker. So if I go here and I completely make my color white, well, I gotta get white. That's the part of this that drives me nuts, is getting it close to white. There we go. It's still.
We have a quick question. I'm
Yep.
sorry. Somebody came in late and said they can't find Adobe Draw in the App Store. Is Illustrator Draw the same thing?
Yes, sorry, they might have renamed it. Yeah,
Okay.
because it's draws with vector.
Got it.
But I think you guys can tell the difference there when you try to whiten up your teeth. It just looks, it looks a little weird. Just FYI. So I would stick with natural colors using the color picker to do teeth and lips. Just personal preference. This is what I teach the students. Eyeballs are the same way. It'll look very weird when you're in here. And again, if I can get it close to white, come on, you can do it, you can do it. Should be able to get it into white. Come on, you can do it. It's super light blue, but you get the idea. The lighter color it is, I think it looks weird because of all the shading. I tell them, again, I would rather have you guys come in here and do a little close to natural. A lot of students will want to change their eyeball color. They're like, can I have brown eyes, green eyes, blue eyes, whatever. Again, I tell them to try to keep the eye color, whatever they do, not intense. We're not trying to create zombies with contacts. We're trying to do a nice portrait. Skin complete first. I would do eyes and lips next, and then hair. Now I'm gonna do hair on a different one to kind of show you guys, because on this one I'm wearing a ball cap. But clothes are the same way, just FYI. Clothes are the same way. You create a clothes layer, you put it on top, because where are your clothes? Hopefully they're on top of your body. So, so clothes also go on top. Now I'm gonna close this for a second. Go out of here really fast. Hold on, I gotta find, there she is. All right, so here's another one that I did of a student as an example. Okay, the hair is really kind of an integral part to this. This is another opportunity to talk to students about line and value. Her hair was obviously very curly. So if I turn on the picture, you guys can see, you know, that's a picture of her. All right, and there's the Adobe portrait. So when you're drawing the hair, here I'll create a new layer for fun. When you're doing the hair, and I'll try to make it a bold color so you guys can see it. All right, I would take the line width down a little smaller than the 15 you had before. And again, oops, sorry, I gotta put the layer on top so you can see it. So you can try to draw, and I talk to the students about drawing as you picture your hair moving, okay? So as you picture your hair kind of moving. The other thing is, if the student has longer hair, again, I tell them to kind of think about how you would actually like comb your hair. So you comb it from the top down, top down, top down, top down. So these are neat things to talk to students about. Again, like line and value is, you know, you're not trying to draw the hair back and forth and back and forth. You're trying to draw the hair from the top down. You would curl your hair with little curls, again, from the top down. So those are some things about drawing hair. Hold that, get rid of that. I'll close her up really fast. I might come back to one here in a minute. All right, I think this girl's spiky hair is pretty awesome too. All right, so she's got super awesome spiky red hair. So again, try to draw the hair. But the hair would be the last thing that you would draw. So if you are looking at a completed portrait, so I'm going to pull this one up here. So this is going to be a completed portrait. Like I said, this would probably take maybe about 2 weeks for a student to do. All right. I'm going to turn back on my layer. I'm going to get rid of my teeth layer. All right. So this is what it looks like. Now, the students are going to be super excited and happy with this one. And then you're going to look at it and you're going to go, that's pretty awesome. And then you're going to say, hey, turn off your photograph. And they're going to turn off the photograph and they're going to be like, oh no, look at all that white space behind me. And look at all those things that I messed up. And you're going to be like, hey, no problem. Back in the day, these painters that we studied, the Kehinde Wileys and all these impressionistic painters, well, before they started painting, what they would do is they would put a neutral layer down. They put a neutral tone. They neutralize their canvas. Use their opportunity to talk art with them again. And you are going to do the exact same thing, except you're doing it in reverse because this is digital and we can do whatever we want. So I would create a new layer. All right. And this layer I would call a neutral layer, and you will talk to them about using a neutral color. Okay. And I would, depending on which type of person you're doing, you can use dark browns, oranges, somewhere in the brown to orange range to get a neutral color. And when you do that, did everybody see the change there really quick?
Do it again.
I'll do it again. Just by putting in a neutral layer. All right, so that's just, and here I'll show you real quick. I'll create a layer really fast so you guys can see that. So all you have to do is come over here. All right, sorry. I'll pick a brown really fast. Pick a neutral color. Good one. Here's a good one. All right. Crank the opacity back up 100%. Okay. Take your brush off of the pointy brush. Go ahead and make it round. Okay. And this one, you can change the size a little bit, speed it up. So this one is just, you're going to fill in with paint. And you can sit here. I don't know if you guys can see. Is that showing up for you?
Yep.
Okay. And so this is just them filling in the whole background with a neutral color. All right. And that'll fill everything in for them. So the last step on kind of doing this portrait is, again, to add this neutral layer underneath everything as far as just completing a portrait. So again, some key things of this, and I'm going to talk about how they finish it in one more cool program that you guys might be able to use, because I think, how long do we go against that?
8:30ish.
Okay. Oh, we're hitting. I always try to knock this out of date. This one was going to run over though.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It'll be recorded, and I'll stick with you as long as it takes.
Okay. So sorry, where was that? Oh, sorry. Neutral layer. So we got the neutral layer in there. So everything is everything is ready to go, and the painting is ready to go as is. Now, there are a few different apps, but I will show you the app that we use. Okay. So then we're going to talk to students about a background once their painting's done. Whatever they want to do for their background, as far as if they want it to be a pattern, if they want it to be, if they have some drawing ability. Again, not all of our kids can draw. They want it to be roses, vines, but we talk about, if you remember the Kehinde Wiley portraitures, how he uses pattern as an integral part of his backgrounds and how it brings out the personality of the people that he's using. You want it to be a strong, confident, contrasting background. And we talk about, again, color schemes. If you use blues, what it conveys, yellows, what it conveys, you get the idea. There's an awesome app called Amasiograph. It's right there. It is 99 cents. Just FYI. So I had to write up as to why we like Amasiograph. They have free ones. They're free mandala makers, and you guys can look at any app you want. You might have already used those before. Now, I will also tell you, you will now lose your kids for probably 2 or 3 days. Because speaking of social and emotional learning stuff,
Yeah.
once you show a kid one of these things, it is a rabbit hole until you can drag them back. So despite you having this lovely talk about, hey, what do you want for your background? And they're like, oh, I want to draw, like Ohio State, or, I want to draw roses, or I want to draw clouds. Nope, they're about to drop down a wormhole. So
Are they still able to do that on a Chromebook though?
yes.
Okay.
Our Chromebooks are touch screens, so they can still do that.
Okay, ours are not touch screens.
Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you.
I fall into the wormhole with patterns too. They just suck me right in, and I just get lost.
So this is like all other pattern makers, except it's super, super easy. You can choose what pattern you want. So I just pick mirror. Up at the top, up at the top are colors. You can either draw, erase, fill, and you've got your brush size. Sorry, it's backed in. You've got your opacity and your undos and your layers. So the kids will obviously, start drawing whatever. I tell the kids that I prefer them use an actual pattern. So I tell them to jump into the patterns. You can space out the patterns. Okay, you can choose multiple points and prints when you do the patterns. You can adjust the grid so you can make them wider or smaller or closer. It has a lot of really neat features. Back to the wormhole. All right. So if they pick a pattern, done. Come on, you can do it. Done. They pick a brush size. And then again, I tell them to zoom in because they only need to draw in one area. It's going to pattern itself automatically. And then obviously, I think we've all probably used something like this. And if you haven't yet, you should really try using one of these because it is very soothing and relaxing as far as you trying to create something. Wow. So you can start building your patterns. You can take colors. You can start filling in colors. You can take colors. You can start filling. Oh, now it filled that. It's a good thing there's undo. There you go. You can start filling in colors. You can go back and you can do more and more and more stuff. So this is a wonderful thing to get kids to relax off of drawing for a couple days to start creating patterns. Then you can kind of rein them back in and focus on actual drawing of things if they're very interested in drawing roses, clouds, letters, things like that as far as their background goes. I won't spend a lot of time with the Amasiograph, like I said, because it's pretty simple as far as pattern creation. And you can create one after another after another. You can just hop in here and pick all kinds of rotational things. And it does, like I said, it does send you into a very calm and peaceful setting with the amount of stuff that it does on it. So I don't think there's any questions about Amasiograph, but let me get back out of Amasiograph really quick. Go back to Adobe Draw. Again, you'll need to create a new layer, image layer. What they would do is they would save their Amasiograph as a pattern on, and I think, did I do this for this one? Yes. They would save it as a pattern. All right. And you'd fill up the pattern, click done. You need to make sure your pattern is on the right layer. Come on. And you can create a work. Now I'll do my fully finished piece for you. So I'll hide all the little layers. So it's kind of what you would expect out of a student to be creating when you guys are doing this. So I would like to show you a few finished ones here in a second while you guys are thinking any questions. So
I have a question. Is there,
Yeah.
like how Kehinde Wiley takes pieces of his background and overlaps parts of the character?
yes,
The subject. Is there a way to do that here? Like to cut out or copy and paste a section of the background and drop it in over the subject?
yes. I thought I had that one saved. Hold on. I swear I had it saved. Maybe I didn't. I will look for it. I thought I had this one prepped to show you guys.
So we could just select it with like a marquee
Yeah.
tool and copy
No.
it, paste it onto a new layer and,
Correct.
okay, got
Yes.
it.
You can select and move it. And I had one where there was one in front of me. And apparently, no, there's no more on that one. Nope, there's no more on that one. Nope, there's no more on that one. Is there any in this one? Nope, there's no more on that one. All right, I'll have to find where I hid that one. It is somewhere. But here, I will show you examples of the kids doing it. How about that?
Okay.
How about that? All right. So let me show you guys. So I want to show you guys some examples of what my students have done over the past year while they have been. So these are students that were either virtual or hybrid, just to let you know. So these are some more recent ones of my students.
Oh,
And what's,
yeah,
and that's what I was saying,
Yeah.
Steph, is yes, they can cut out pieces. Hopefully you can see the pieces in front of her.
Yep.
That's doing that one. So there, this girl, I'll also give you a little background. This girl is an AP art kid. She was not an AP art kid when she did this, but just to let you know, she had a little bit of talent kind of hidden. This one, we went a little bit crazy because she did her brother that was in a shopping cart. This one actually won an award. I did not make her go crazy with the Adobe background because she wanted the shopping cart in there as well and did all the time to put all the detail in the shopping cart. That just FYI as to why you don't see the background is, again, she was an art kid. So she had a very strong vision of what she wanted her project to be. Here's a pet. I had a student who was a they, so she was very neutral in her identity. and did not want to be identified, and it was the cat all the way. So she went with sorry, I'm still catching myself, went with the cat on this one. But
the hair strokes are phenomenal.
when a student can do the correct hair work, yes, you are correct. This program does lend itself to be able to do really cool hair strokes. Again, you can see the pattern from Amasiograph there in the background with the roses being done. This was a girl's little brother. So that was a cool one. This guy, pretty funny. He had zero drawing experience, but I thought he did a very good job, especially with his color choice and his smirk. This one always makes me smile when I take a look at this one. He chose a pretty simple background being drawn here, which I wasn't a fan of, so I made him go into Photoshop and do a watercolor effect on a picture and put it back there because I wasn't too happy with his Amasiograph. There's another one, and you can see her, there's her pieces laying in front of the other one. She did a great job on her braids. You can see the hair texture. So she did excellent work there. This is another one of my favorites. He actually took a bunch of ones that he made, a bunch of different, and I always say it wrong, so please correct. Is it mandalas? Mandala. He took a bunch of different ones and cut them out and pasted them all over his project. Kid had no drawing experience, none.
Really? And this one?
Yeah, and he did his hands. You can see like his knuckles. I mean, you can see his jacket.
Wow.
He did a great job. I also entered that one into a show and it won. This one was great. This girl hated me. It's the best way to describe it. Every day she would come in, she'd tell me it was the worst class ever, and my projects were all dumb. But I got an email from her a year after she graduated and said she missed my class and she had a lot of fun. So I put her picture on here because I told her I was going to display her work because she actually did have a lot of talent. So that was one of the first computer graphics things she did. Like this one, her hair was actually really well done. The hair on this piece. And I do like her light color scheme. That was very good. And then I think we're back to the beginning. These kids all range from 9th graders to 12th graders, from zero art experience to a girl that was going into AP. So just to kind of give you a little heads up of the type of artwork that you can do. So I would like to show a little more advanced version if you want the step, but does anyone have questions about this general process right here? No, I did a lot of talking.
We're good. We're good.
Okay. And like I said, on our on the YouTube channel, if you want, step by step, setting up the portraits, setting up the brushes, drawing in the darks, drawing in the midtones, drawing in the eyes, and so forth and so on, if you guys want to go there. All right, let me go back to screen sharing really quick. All right, so once the students have done this project, they have an opportunity to take intermediate computer graphics with me. If you take the same principles of the drawing process into this Adobe Draw, you can also do vector portraits, which I think a lot of you guys have maybe seen on websites out there as well. And so these would be for more advanced students that actually have some drawing ability behind them. All right, so I'm just going to start off with a simple one right here. It is the same concept of they're going to have a layer. All right, in the layer on this one, you're still going to choose the brushes to be, they're still going to choose them to be a taper. Okay. In this one, you're really going, oh, sorry, gotta forget. I'm clicking on the computer, I'm touching the iPad all at the same time. This one, you really want to discuss line weight with them. So they're gonna create a whole lines layer. So for vector portraits, you need to create a whole layer of just black outline at 100% opacity. But you do want to do line weight. So you want to talk to them about thin and thick line, what is important, detail, what is unimportant detail, and trying to capture the general features of a portrait, not every single thing. Okay, it is not outlining everything. So for a more advanced student, this would be kind of the next level. But yes, you're going to do a black outline of the project. Then you do not need to do the next one with a tapered brush because it might take a little bit of. So when you're filling, you would want to use the round brush or a basic flat. So stay away from the chisel. So when you're filling, you want to use kind of a round brush. And then you'll create a layer that's just the skin, just the complete skin tone. So it's kind of like the same thing before that you did, except this one's pretty simple. It's 100% opacity. Pick your skin tone. You can crank your brush size up. And you're going to, why is that going over my lines? My lines should be on top because I'm on my lines layer. Pay attention to what layer you're on, people. Sorry, I'm yelling at myself. I was on my lines layer. I need to be on my skin layer. There we go.
That's always the biggest.
That's the
thing
biggest
that
problem.
We always
Yeah,
forget
just do
what
it
layer
again.
we're on. Yep.
Skin layer. There we go. And that way, you can draw under your lines. And again, I tell them to zoom in and fill it in very, very quickly. So this is another great thing that you can do is you have them kind of fill in very, very, very fast. All right. When they're done with the skin layer, it's the same principles as Adobe Draw. You now want them to go back here. I would go back to a chisel brush. I would tell them to find a dark color, and then tell them to start filling in the darks. Okay. Then you'd work through some mid-tones. All right. And then on and on and on through the lights. And I think.
Do you mind if I ask you, is this not Adobe Draw, this vector portrait?
No, this is all Adobe Draw. I was just
Okay,
showing you,
I
I was
thought
showing
you
you
said-
two versions. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry, we're
okay.
still in Adobe Draw.
Okay, thanks.
I was showing you a couple different versions of what you can do with it with more advanced students when you start teaching solid color. So I would use the kind of impressionistic, non-realistic colors with foundational kids. It helps them to not be so afraid. If you'd like to step up your game, and I'm not saying that you can't do this with intermediate kids. This is what we do with intermediate kids. But with intermediate kids, now we're going to use true color and we're going to start painting solid colors in there. And I'll pop up my lovely one I did of myself here. And you can kind of see what it looks like as it's finished, but I will turn off some of the layers for you real fast so you can see it kind of step by step as it's being the same process.
I hate to be so, I am very, very elementary. Did you still start out with a layer of the photograph underneath?
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what I'm getting to. Boom. So, oops. There we go. So step one in vector drawing is lines, just pure black lines. Line weight, a lot of discussion about line weight. So your first thing is a line, and you would check the students to have their line drawn. Not too much detail, just enough detail. So that is the key for vector portraits. You want line work, you want line weight, you want just enough detail. That's 3 easy things to remember about vector portraits. Line work, line weight, just enough detail. After you are done with their line weight, you check off that layer. Layer of skin. Okay, all layer, all one color. That part's pretty easy. All right, you will turn off your layer of skin, and then you will do all your darks. Okay, when you're done with all your darks, you will then do your mid darks, or however you want to call them. I like to call them my mid darks. You will then come through and start adding in some of your lighter lights. Then you can come in and add your highlights. Sorry, that's my shirt. I'll find the lights here in a second. I think that is my highlights. Nope, that's my shirt. Nope, I'll find them here in a second. All right, after you're done with that, it's going to be the lips and the eyes. So lips, eyes. All right, if you turn back on your skin, there we go. Turn off the picture. And they can put in a solid color contrasting background. But it's the same process of building up. But like I said, this one's with true color and a little more advanced students that aren't so intimidated. So I think you guys can kind of see the results being a little bit different. I would think about this one's a little more cartoony and a little more realism, if that makes sense. But I would consider this more of an advanced project when you start talking about really trying to find the lines. But yes, 100% your picture, oops, come on, you can do it, man. Your picture is on the whole time, and yes, it is still kind of a tracing thing.
Very different results. Like one is real painterly and one is super graphic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much. So, and you can get crazy if that's closest. And you can have super advanced students that do full figure work. So,
Wow.
but yes, it's very graphic in nature. But this is all using Adobe Draw. So like I said, I've had great results with 4th graders, 9th graders, 0 drawing or high drawing experience with this, but it's all one program. I had here, actually, this is the one. Here, I'll show you. Back to this one really quick. This one right here. This is a girl who did it on her phone. So that's the one she did on her phone. And I wish I could zoom in and show you, but you can clearly see she's still got all the textures and everything in the hair and the dice and everything like that. So that one was done on a phone.
How do they, I don't understand how they do that on a phone. Like it's so tiny.
Yeah, I have no idea. And she did it with a stylus on her phone. So
Oh my God.
again, everything on here is, there's the handouts that you wanted, and I'll put the link to this in the chat. And I will stop sharing for a minute and see if there are any more. Maybe stop sharing. See if there's any more questions. There's that. I'll put my email if anyone's got any questions. This is a project that the kids ask about every year, and I don't know if it's because they want to use the iPad Pros because they see the card of them sitting there, which they all do, or it's because they actually enjoy the project. But they do enjoy the project because they see the props, they see the cameras. They're very narcissistic, the majority of them, and we also are kind of spoiled because I wrote a grant and got a plotter. So the kids are able to print out kind of poster-sized versions of themselves, which is very surprising to me because as much as they're involved in social media, you'd think, because they do sit there and take pictures and put them on TikTok and Snapchat and all that stuff, but they still want like the poster of it. I don't know where they hang these posters, but I love it.
On the fridge.
I love the fact that they want a physical copy of their work. That makes my heart soar. But that is the gist of the project. So
they probably hang it in their room so they can look at themselves even more.
Yeah.
So probably 100% true. So
Well, they're so great. I would want to print them too. These are fantastic.
They are. They are. This is phenomenal. Thank you. Did you say you were going to put the link and your number in the chat?
I'm not going to put my number. I do like you people, but I'd rather keep that private. But my email is in there. And
that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
the project is in there.
I don't see it. It didn't
It's
pop.
not in the chat.
Oh my God, I just sent it to Laura Rapard, direct message. Congratulations.
Oh, Laura,
You're the only
you
one
win it.
receiving. as
You
a
win the
special
prize.
prize. I have no idea why isn't one sent to everyone. All right, so we're gonna try this again. So there's the sites to everyone.
Thank you.
Sorry, Laura, you're officially not winning the prize because now everyone has the information.
Are these going to be emailed to us, Steph, or should we just write all this down? I'm cool with that though.
Just copy, or you know what, click on the link and then save it
Okay.
to your bookmarks.
That's true. Sorry.
That's okay. And then you could just copy the link, his email.
Show one more thing really quick. Just FYI, in there, there'll be a link to this if you like the handout, by the way. So there'll be a link to this as well. I don't know if it'll let you click the links into PDF because the kids have it because they're in Google.
Mm-hmm.
But all the links are the YouTube videos. Just FYI. So you'll have this. So you'll have this handout as a PDF, but I don't know if it works. You guys can see I kind of broke it down step by step in the handout. So
That's a phenomenal resource. Thank you.
but I don't know if the links will work. But just FYI, the links are in. The links take you to the videos. Just as an FYI, if you want to go back and forth. But in the video, the YouTube channel's up for you guys to use, whatever. But if you want it step by step, it'll be in there. And I think that's, yeah, talks about hair, doing the hair last, clothing last, and finally filling in the background with the neutral color and turn it in.
So Tracy asked, you cannot use Adobe Draw on a Mac laptop?
No, because it's an app, or at least I'm going to say no because it's an app. Anything that takes an app, you guys can use.
There's no Google Drive link. What were you looking for, Carrie?
Oh,
When he was showing the documents and the different the PDFs in those programs, or are they linked through the class site?
so yeah, when you go here and you click here, that's when you get the handouts.
So where are they on there?
So let me go back.
On the school website.
So under Adobe Draw Portraits,
Yeah.
it says handouts.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
And just FYI, I kept the old thing on there. So there's the alchemy. Here's the alchemy one.
Okay.
Just oh, this still works. What? This is the old program, Alchemy. This is the one without undo.
Oh,
It's a
So
one-shot deal.
This is a one-shot deal when you're painting. So just FYI. It is really, really an interesting program for free, which is why we learned about it. Because like I said, we were doing all of these projects at first without any Adobe products or anything. So this is where we learned to do it, was using these free open source things. So you can see it still gives you the same effects. You only have an option of painting over or under something. So we had to teach the kids about painting over and under, which was kind of neat. But again, you can see it still gives you the same effects as Adobe Draw, and you still do it the same way. Skin first, eyes, teeth.
Just more pressure.
Just more pressure. Just more pressure. Just more pressure. So
This was amazing. I am so grateful to you and giving us your time and expertise.
So,
Really.
no problem. I enjoy sharing. These are fun to watch. And I know, especially you guys are sharing it right now, you know, it's tough to find things for free.
Yeah.
It's a lot of tough sometimes to find art things on the computer. A lot of them are graphic or photo. And this painting, sometimes digital painting can be very intimidating to students. So.
Well, your videos that teach also, FYI, everybody, Matt's step-by-step tutorials for Adobe and Illustrate, not Photoshop, right?
Yeah.
You'd use the step-by-step videos on the school, on the YouTube channel as well. So if you want to teach everybody the tools in Photoshop or these other programs, teach them that first and then do these projects. So they have to learn the tools and the skills to get to the final product anyway.
The last one we did, the comic book coloring, if you guys weren't here for that one, that's another fun one. The comic book coloring is a very also basic intro one.
Yeah, we
It's
have that on. We have that one YouTube recording.
That's a Photoshop Photo P thing. So
You are a wizard. Thank you.
no problem. Love sharing.
Can
Thank
I
you.
ask you one question? When
Yes.
you were showing us the page where you were pulling out the examples,
Yes.
some of them, it could have been called the comic book coloring. They were full figures just with one solid flat value, almost it looked like. I was just wondering what the name of that was so I could search it.
Hold on.
I see that some on Instagram where they're taking let's say a full body photograph of somebody.
You're talking about,
Well, it was on when you showed the pad, maybe the iPad, you had a lot of little bitty thumbnail sketches there. Seemed like it was further up.
projects.
Okay,
Oh.
like look at the girl.
You're talking about that one?
Yeah,
Yes.
what's that called?
That is called my daughter.
I love those kinds.
So, well, no, I taught, just FYI, I taught her the same way. So these are the vector portraits. So this is the exact same thing that I was showing you with the other thing. It is, you put the picture in there and you pick your brushes. You pick your brushes over here, and then you can just have them trace right over their existing drawing.
Okay, it's just not a line, it's more solid color.
Yeah, she just chose not to outline everything.
Yeah.
She just chose to.
Yeah, I really like those.
When she
Everything you've shown us has been great, but just to verify one last time, for my students to do it, they have to have a touchscreen Chromebook. They have just a regular, our Chromebooks aren't touchscreen.
Well, I honestly don't. I would try to download the app and see if you can draw with the cursor.
Okay.
Or with the mouse pad. I just don't know, because I've only worked on this at school or with other people when I give the demos that have some sort of touchscreen device. So even if they had like a ThinkPad Lavino or a Microsoft Surface or something, they've all still worked just because they could touch the screen.
Right. Yeah. It just made it a lot easier.
I've never experienced it without it, but if it's free and you can download it, I wouldn't see why you couldn't draw with a cursor or a mouse pad.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. This was great.
No problem. Get out there and try it. And once, like I said, students, let them trace to experience for the first time. It takes all that pressure out of it.
Yeah, they enjoy just jumping into it, at least trying.
Yep. Color shape value. All right. Thanks again, Steph.
You're welcome. And thank you again, as always. And I hope you have a restful or semi-restful end of your school year. I know it's going to be kind of crazy, Matt. If I don't see you before the end, you have been really wonderfully supportive for this group, and I appreciate you. I really do.
Thanks. I understand. After 26 years and being president of the Ohio Art Education Association, believe me, I have talked to a lot of Ohio teachers that are in the same situation as everyone around the nation, just very sometimes unsupported and tired. And I just love talking to other people and hopefully pumping the art back up again and getting everyone excited. Carrie did ask real quick, the comic book coloring thing. I think Stephanie did record it.
Yeah, I just put that in Kata's video. Yeah, but all of your instructional videos are also on your site.
Yeah, so either one.
Mm-hmm.
Either one, Carrie.
So we all have to stay supportive of each other and inspire each other and stay creative, because this year has been a super creative, like, vampire and draining all of us, and we just have to keep feeding each other, right? So have a great class next week. We're doing cardboard, back to the old fashioned hands-on, getting dirty stuff. Cardboard animal portraits. I sent out the flyers today, so I hope to see you all back next week. And again, anybody wants to volunteer something that you love, get in touch with me and let me know. And I hope you all have a wonderful, safe, happy, peaceful week as much as possible. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Steph. Bye,
Have a
everybody.
great night. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Steph, too, for putting them together.
You're welcome.